Okay, hi. My name is Megan Arkell. Most of you, since if you watch my YouTube channel, you know me as Zebra Girl. But today I'm gonna have an intense little thing, a little talk. And I don't know how many of you will watch this, because this, I'm saying this right now, this is a testimony. So continue watching if you want to hear it, or just don't. But so as most of you or some of you know, I am Christian and I am deeply in my faith, but the faith all came from something, and it's my testimony, like kind of a life story, if you don't know what testimony is. So I'll start when I was born. When I was born, my heart stopped. I was basically dead. Then my mom, her heart stopped. And my dad had nothing. He was scared. He didn't know what to do, because we were, and then he did a prayer right there and then. And here I am today, alive. So is my mom. So after that, so I lived in Alberta till I was 6. Then I moved here to British Columbia. Then I moved back to Alberta when I was 9. So that's when everything starts. When I was 9, me and my dad were driving along on our motorcycle, going back from school. Since my dad worked at my school, well, the sun was going down, but the sun was beating in his eyes, so he couldn't see anything. And then I heard him call something out to me, which later I found out that he said, I don't remember, but this is when I started getting deep, and an angel came down, and I always say she, I don't know why, but it picked me up by the arms and put me gently on the side of the road. It all happened like slowly, as if time stopped, is what it felt like. And all of a sudden everything went fast again when I was on the side of the ground. And when I was on the side of the ground, I was like this, and then I went forward a bit when everything started going fast. And I looked around. My dad and the bike were on the side of the road. There was a car coming up, and then I looked to see what happened. There was a big bull moose standing in the middle of the road looking at my dad. So I raced to my dad, and the woman in the car close to us called the hospital to see what's wrong. And she put me in her car so that her kids could calm me down. But the thing was, I was already calm, so I was the one who kind of calmed her kids down. I was just calm because I knew everything was going to be okay. So my dad just broke 3 of his ribs, I think 2 here and then 1 in the back, and his right here, and his scapula back here. And then, so I was going to a Christian school at the time, so my friends were all there for me, so that was good. And when it was time to go to chapel and stuff, I was just so happy to be there and stuff. But then, one day something happened, and it didn't change my faith, but, my uncle, he passed away, and I was the first to find out about it, because in the middle of the night, I went downstairs. I don't know why, I just did. I think I wanted to just sleep down there for a change, and someone was calling, but since it was like 3 in the morning, I didn't answer it. So I was 10 now, and then I listened to the voicemail, and it scared me half to death. It was my auntie, but I couldn't tell, because she was crying and bawling her eyes out, and she was like saying, "I need you now," and I didn't know what to do. So I went and woke my parents up, and they listened to it, and sure enough, he was gone, and it was sad. He was my first, my favorite uncle and stuff. I was still deeply in my faith, but then, how old was I now? Oh. So I was 11 when this happened. So I've always had a lot of dogs, and the second oldest one, I was with my friend upstairs, we were having a sleepover, and then all of a sudden I heard my mom scream, "I think she's dead." So I thought that it was Brooke. Talk a little bit more about her later. But then I told my friend to stay there, and I called to my mom, what's wrong? She said stay there, but I didn't. So I went down, and my dog Honey, she was having a heart attack. And it was the most traumatic thing I've ever seen because I was only 11, and I was just watching her there, and there's nothing we could do, and I was just screaming, Honey, don't leave me, God, don't take her. And I didn't know what to do because she was family to me, and she's been there my whole life since she was 9 at the time. And I was scared, and all of a sudden everything went quiet. She was gone. And here's a picture of her. She's very special. So we had her cremated, and she's downstairs right now. And then a year later, when I was 12, we moved back here to British Columbia, and I went to a public school, and I was in grade 7, and oh my gosh, so much swearing there. And since I was only 12 at the time, I was new to this stuff, and I was like, oh, this is cool, even though I thought it was bad. I never admitted this to my parents, but now I am, because they're going to be watching this. And I started swearing, and I started being different, and I didn't pray as much, and I was just changing a lot. And by the time I was 13, it was so weird. A lot of my friends were really big swearing people, and yeah, and they did drugs. I wouldn't do drugs, though. I didn't. And they were losing their virginity and smoking pot, and I knew that was wrong too. So I didn't do any of that because I'm not like that. But then one day, I don't know what happened, but I was just laying in bed listening to praise music, just like this, worship music, and all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but in me, I was like, what am I doing? This is not me. 2 years ago, I was the most loving person you can meet, and I wouldn't do anything bad. And so, that's when I looked up into heaven. I'm like, God, I need your help. I need you now. I need you to help me be me. To stop all of the things I'm doing. And then I'm like, Lord God, I promise you I'll never do anything like this again. And then all of a sudden, it was as if he was saying I was okay. He said, it's okay to me. And I just felt relieved in me. And I just felt clean and healthy. And then now school's being great, but during the time I was swearing, I forgot to mention this, but there was a guy, and since I was new to stuff, I started getting hormones, and like, oh my gosh. So there was this guy, I thought I was in love with him, and I know now I wasn't, but he was a jerk, but at the same time he was like a big brother. But then I started to think, maybe I'm in love with him and stuff. And he's my neighbor now. And stuff happened when he moved away, and I got over him and I was fine. Until grade 8. There's another guy. And he was tall and stuff. A lot of you probably know who he is, because this is out and people know about this. So I don't really care about saying it, but I thought that I was in love with him. It's kind of funny now to think about it because, no. But, stuff happened during a dance, and then I was just crying and stuff, and then that's when stuff got crazy, and he got a girlfriend, and then it was like, and then after that I did that big prayer, and now I don't think about having boyfriends till I'm like 17 or 16 or whatever, but yeah, and then the recent thing that happened is in spring break, my dog Brooke, I think most of you might know this story. Excuse me if I start crying, but so we went to the movies, me and my mom. We went to go see the new Cinderella movie, and I came home and I was about to let the dogs out. Mom was going to throw me a jug so I can put water in it, but she wasn't there and she wouldn't come, and all of a sudden she came to the door and she was bawling her eyes out, and I'm like right away I was like, oh my gosh, I knew it was Brooke, because Brooke was almost 13, and the last time Mom cried like that was when she came home and found our bunny Skittles dead. So I had to be strong for her, so I went up and found Brooke laying down. And she was still limp, and I held her head on my knees, and I wanted to be strong for my mother, so I did my best not to cry hard like I did with Honey, but I could feel tears streaming down my cheek, and Brooke was like a sister to me, and that was when I was 13, which was only a few months ago, and she was 12, so I've known her my whole life. And when I found her laying there, I was like, this can't be real, and then later on when I went to bed before then, I started to cry as hard as I could, because I had to just let it out, and I was asking God, why did you do this? And then I thought for a moment, I'm like, she was 12, she was having strokes, she was having seizures, it was time, and I was kind of glad that she was okay now. She's waiting for me, but I miss her so much, but and then the most recent thing that happened is, so I went to the doctors one day and found out that my back is crooked, like my spine is crooked, and then I got scared, because I'm like, oh my gosh, because I had blood tests, and I don't know yet, I had x-rays, and I don't know, but I could maybe never walk again or swim, and again, I was sitting in bed here, and I looked up to God, tears streaming down my cheeks. I'm begging him, Lord God, fix my back, do something. And then I thought for a moment, like, some of you might know who Bethany Hamilton is. She's like my hero. And then I thought for a minute, Bethany Hamilton has no arm, and she's a huge inspiration. People love her, and her faith in God is strong and beautiful. And I thought for a minute, because I remember in the movie of Bethany Hamilton, she asked, how could this be God's plan for me? And then I thought, Bethany Hamilton has brought so many people to the Lord. What if that's God's plan for me? Even if I don't walk, I won't give up in anything. I can still do things, even if my legs don't work, or something, mentally disabled or whatever. Maybe it could be God's plan for me. And then I just put my hands up and I'm like, Lord God, I want to be there. I want to be an inspiration to others so that they can find you, so they can be with you someday, and that their faith will be strong like mine. So, Lord God, I don't care what your plan is for me. Even if I don't have legs, I know that's a good plan, and I'll be able to do amazing things someday. So, now I'm just happy for who I am. Like, my back is crooked still, and the tests haven't come in yet, so I don't know what's wrong. But, I'm happy that I have the Lord God, and I don't care what happens to me. I'm still alive, and I'm here because of Him. I'm going to be Christian for my whole life, and I promise I will never lose faith. Thank you for watching my testimony.